Today, I'd like to share a little bit more with you about the book club that the team conducted early in the months of September and October to get ourselves ready for the UNCF and Talladega College Career Pathways Initiatives Liberal Arts Innovation Center. When we're trying to do professional learning, one of the things that we have found and suggest to our colleagues who would like to take up this innovation is we always try to have a planned agenda and specific ideas and concepts that each one of us know that we'll be bringing to the table. This is a professional book study that we did using Bill Servin's book. And it really has been kind of the backbone of what we are doing. In Bill's book, he breaks down the process of lesson study, how to do it, why to do it, everything that you could think about in probably less than 100 pages. So it is a good book study. It's the only book that I know about that has a strict focus on college professors and lesson study. So there are lots and lots of wonderful books on lesson study, and each person might put their own spin on the process of lesson study, but generally it's the same. So you can see in our time schedule, we introduce the lesson study team. I'll be doing that just in a minute. We talk about the continuous professional development plan that we will use for planning all the professional learning that we do during this initiative. And the book that will drive it, of course, is Bill Servin's book, as I've said before, Lesson Study Using Classroom Inquiry to Improve Teaching and Learning in Higher Education. And each one of us took a chapter or two chapters, and we broke it down to bring back to the discussion. The final discussion that we held on this book was around October the 1st, and we talked about the key pieces after we had had some time to absorb the content earlier in the month of September. I advocate this. Doing a book study can be a long, drawn-out process, and many people are turned off by doing book studies because sometimes leaders of book studies have a tendency to make it more didactic than it needs to be. I have no doubt that this team will go back in periodically and revisit the chapters in this book. And as we actually begin to get ready to put our lesson studies out there to the world and do formal lesson studies as we've been doing since 2015, we will go back in and use Bill's words and ideas and concepts a great deal. Having a book study on a simple topic is a great way to start an innovation, and we recommend it highly. And then in the last a bit of time, one of the things that we are learning in our work where we are working on active learning is to have students of whatever topic, whether they are adults, whether they're professors, or whether they are college students, high school students, or 5-year-olds, to offer some summary statements about what they read and what were their key takeaways. So today you see that we are also featuring our Talladega College students. These students were actually involved in a lesson study and studying a friend's lesson that she was delivering on a read aloud. The colleagues who were involved in this book study are Caitlin Cox, Rhonda Sutton, Alicia Curry, and Rebecca McKay. These are the core 5 people, 2 from outside the network and 2 from inside the network, who deal with the organization and strategizing work on how to support the people who will be writing and delivering the lesson studies, as well as collecting the data and disseminating the data out to the broader audience of people who want to be a part of our Innovation Center. And of course, on the bottom row, you will see a picture of me. I'm the lesson study lead. I've had the opportunity to study it for many years. We've been doing it here at the college since 2015, so Dr. Robinson and I have a lot of experience. We started doing lesson study together in a previous job or work that we did in our public schools. Dr. Robinson is the lesson study chair. We have Dr. Michelle Bridgewater. Dr. Bridgewater is our lesson study special education specialist. And we love having all of these people with specialized expertise because it gives us a lens of seeing the lesson and the delivery of the lesson as well as the student responses in a way that we could not do if the talent of our lesson study team was not so deep. Then we have Dr. Yolanda Clinton is fairly new to us. She's been with us for about a year and a half, going on 2 years, and she is our lesson study content specialist. For instance, I suspect that eventually we will be doing lesson study in mathematics. Right now, we will be using the 4 lesson studies that we will create and demonstrate for you, our audience, and people who would like to be a member of the Innovation Center and participate. We will be disseminating 4 lesson studies on the ethics of teaching. And we were advised to do that topic because it's a strong topic for liberal arts colleges to embrace. And I'm going to move over now so you can see our student who was she was the lesson study leader, had written her lesson and was delivering her lesson. And you can see here that she has her colleagues are sitting with the students that she was teaching, and they were taking notes, and they will also take the sticky notes that the students are using as data that they have gathered for this lesson study. One key piece of the work that we feel like has been so critical for us and why we feel that lesson study is a powerful technique to use in an education department. It builds reflection among our students, and we have been using it again since 2015. Many of our students attend every lesson study. Some of them are off campus and cannot make all of them, but we generally do at least 4 formal lesson studies a year. And that was before we were dealing with COVID. And we would do public research lessons, and many of these students that you see here actually led their own lesson study where they wrote the lesson and taught the lesson, and their colleagues enacted the role of the lesson study participants and gave them feedback. And I love this quote. We know that the best teachers are those who are not only brilliant and who give us great content, but we really are thankful to those teachers who have touched our human feelings. And lesson study is one of those processes where you can actually touch the human feeling of what the teacher and the students in a classroom are actually trying to accomplish. So we are so grateful for our students and so appreciative to them for embracing our concepts of lesson study and taking it out into the wider world as they graduate and begin to take their part in the world of teaching. One important concept in any innovation is to have a plan on how you will continuously develop and to have a model. This model is a powerful model, and it's just basically a series or a set of questions. What and why are we doing this particular action? What is our focus, and why is this our focus? And one of the things that we know here, anytime that we can tie this to something that is already an important, powerful focus for the school or the university or the classroom, we know that our study is going to be carried on and it's going to be valued. We also love for people to take part in whatever work that we're doing and whatever we're learning. And we often ask ourselves, as a learner and an adult learning experience, how does it feel and how does it make us feel during this experience? What does it look like? Sometimes we capture video clips, and you will have all of the video available to you that we capture in the lesson studies that we do, so you can actually go back in and take a look at the process and the content. The process that we're instituting in our innovation is lesson study. The activity and the instructional practice that we are working toward is active learning strategies. We know that it's directly tied to student success and retention. And so all of us have already been through several months of work and professional learning on techniques of lessons of active learning that we will be implementing and pointing those out to you as we do our lesson studies. What now and what next? After the lesson study, we always ask people to reflect. What was the strongest piece of learning that you gleaned, and how will you use this learning when you go out into the world. One of the things that I think is important to remember about an innovation center, or about whatever you're doing with professional learning, particularly in education, the lesson and the work that we do and the professional learning is no better than what is done with it within the next 24 hours of the time that you learn the new innovation or the new technique. We know that we're all on a continuum of learning in our world. We have many, many different opportunities to do lesson study at Talladega College, and we feel that this, as a starting point for you, is a powerful, powerful starting point to have your professional development model and what your goals are and your foci are before you ever start. Also, to let people process work through the actual activity of doing a lesson study is critical. And the cycle of professional learning requires the innovation team, and that would be the professors that you saw earlier. And we will be using support from various other colleagues, some from inside the university and outside the university. It's a model of a cycle of learning over time in the classroom, and it's focused on joint problem solving. The innovation team asks the following questions of itself and provides training and development for other HBCUs to do the same with the resources that we will provide you through the virtual Talladega College Education Department Innovation Center. So in the design and the development, you will have access to this, but we, again, identify a goal for our professional learning. We articulate our moral purpose, and we identify success indicators before we ever start. All of these are critical, and following these steps, it's a simple one-page document that you will have access to on our website, will be critical for your success as you move forward with your techniques that you want to glean from the work that we're doing here at Talladega College with lesson study and active learning as our content. Thank you.